Okay, today I have one of my favorite pieces in my collection. I've had this for about 25 years. I actually have 3 pages. This is a background drawing for a scene in a Super Sugar Crisp commercial with the golden bear. This is on the what I've always called tissue paper. When you buy a pack of cells to paint your characters on, this tissue is in between each of the cell layers. And for this production, they appear to have just used it for their layout drawings. You see the registration holes at the top. This is the Acme standard. You put your cells or drawings in pegs that correspond to those hole sizes, and then it also stabilizes your pieces on the animation stand. But this is a very neat layout, a lot of detail. This is scene 1, so this would be an establishing shot. It appears the episode, or the commercial episode, was titled Snowplow. SB for Sugar Bear. There's a lot of notes on here. This says paint as morning sunrise. So that's information for the animators to color, gives them direction when they go into paint. This was probably a supervisor's pen in purple, making final judgment calls. Confirms sunrise, and then informs this town play down, perhaps close value to general background, or close valve to general background. So it appears they don't want this village to stand out so much that it's detracting from the animation. They want you to focus on the scene. It is a beautiful village, and maybe that's why it does draw the eye. In the foreground, we have this creek. Looks like a little bridge and a trail of snow coming across, and a wooden fence. The creek wraps around here. Nice log cabin with snow dripping off the roof. These were icicles or something, making holes in the snow when they dropped. But a lot of rich detail here in the tree branches, etc. So in color comps, subdue the village. So you have a note there emphasizing it's not important, and this is background 1. And then of course just noting for the animators again that this is to be colored as ice. So let's look at the next corresponding piece. This will be the character, Sugar Bear. He's on a snowplow. They used different colors of graphite, obviously a standard, what I would consider standard lead pencil, the red pencil, and the blue pencil. To just accentuate the textures and depth and shading. So a note here, no smoke. So they wanted that perhaps removed. Note lettering on side. So maybe that's SB, intended SB for Sugar Bear. It's not defined on here, and they want it on both sides. So if the snowplow is going to be perceived from both sides, they're doing a continuity note for that. See the color model. So there's going to be a corresponding model sheet that has a model of the snowplow. Model sheets also depict color, expressions for characters, things like that. Call Gary Katona at Film Rain for model lettering. So they want to get the model lettering for this. Maybe there's a stencil or a certain, or I guess the standard lettering for the Sugar Bear. I'm not sure what the B's represent. This is still scene 1. Maybe this is, it wouldn't be a page 2. Normally when I see A, B, C, it has to do with the camera points when we're doing camera movements across the artwork, where to start and stop. So I'm not really sure what that would do on here. And once again, down here, it's the title of the commercial, the shootings. They're calling it Snowplow. So we'll just look at the final piece that I have for this series. A lot of nice messy detail on here. I love that. Let's see, this is scene 2. Alan, see snow on far side. T, that's someone's initials. No smoke. So they've repeated that direction here. Snow on far side, and then your character, I guess this is going to be part of the dialogue. Uh-oh, a broken bridge. And then the sugar bear pushes foot pedal. That's instruction to the animators on movement and the series of drawings and corresponding cells that they're going to make. Pushes foot pedal, makes the wheel spin. So this rear tire is going to be spinning excessively. Alan, snowplow not in water, rather it is hung up. So maybe Alan's the storyboard artist on this commercial. Could be one of the animators. Rather, it is hung up. He pushes a pedal to shift gear. Rear wheels reverse and spin, sink, kicking up one hell of a lot of snow. So that just emphasizes the animators. They really want to see a storm of snow blown out from this attempt to keep the snowplow on solid ground. He backs up, slides forward and down again, repeat as time allows. And this is good direction here, like this, the impression. So you're always trying to convey intent. You can't do it in so many words. So they say the impression is he's hung up. Snowplow not in water. So they want it just on the edge, not to the point where the vehicle would expect to be sinking. Move him back and slide forward. So this was probably a movement here where he's working it and maybe he can save himself and the snowplow. Repeat something. I don't know if that's repeat OL. I don't know if there's something or repeatable. And sometimes it's difficult to read their scratch, but nonetheless, I like lots of detail and conversation on this. For wheels to go backward, Sugar Bear would shift gears. Okay, so they want to see that action. So maybe there's a stick shift or something that you'd at least see the bear responding to. A lot of good detail in here. Shards of ice. I'm not sure if there was some type of bridge here because those look like boards. Maybe there was a bridge that broke. Let's look at the first scene again. The master. Okay, so we do see here, there is this bridge. I didn't know if the snowplow came off to the side, so it appears the bridge actually crashed when he got on that. And we saw the boards. Now what's interesting is we can take our second page here. Let's just put these two together because these, I call them tissue papers. They're like, it's a heavy grade tissue paper. That's sort of the gauge of this. If we match those up, let me pop this up here. We can see. If we press down a little bit, we can visualize that now. So this is where the bear is coming from. And now if we consider what the animator notes were saying, we don't want the smoke coming up and maybe interfering with the sunset. We want to be watching the character come down here to the bridge, and we didn't want to detract that focus, admiring this beautiful village. So kind of some interesting conversation and decisions in the development of this production. Really need to see what this entails in terms of leadership, decision making, confirming what's good and what's not good. It appears there's 3, maybe 4 individuals who touched on these pages for comment and decision making. And I particularly like the purple pen. It seems to be the animation supervisor. We'll just take one more look at this. So many characters that many of us grew up with and admired, from, you know, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, Tricks, Captain Crunch. It just goes on and on and on. So these are fabulous pieces to collect. If you're interested in animation art, these are certainly wonderful dynamic pieces of art and history. Something like this would frame very nicely. I mentioned in my previous video where we looked at the storyboard for Journey to the Center of the Earth, Creatures of the Swamp episode, that oftentimes the animators can get pretty lively on storyboards and layout drawings, and that's what I like to see. There's it just really captures moments in history that were never intended to be seen, and certainly these art pieces were never intended to survive. If you've enjoyed this journey into the past of production animation art, stick around. We'll have a lot more videos coming out, lots of rare stuff, diving into the history behind the pieces, behind the productions, so much more to come. Thanks again.